And there you go, we've got the recording going. So of course, we can't start our conference without talking about why girls' education. There's overwhelming research, as you probably know, showing the deep impact of quality education on girls' life outcomes, from poverty reduction to better infant and maternity health, fewer child brides, from climate change mitigation and adaptation, all the way to political stability. Education is one of the best tools that provides girls with agency to decide what's best for them. And what's best for them is best for their country and for the world. Some of you may have seen a recent Economist video, and I really loved the title. It was Nations That Fail Women Fail. And I think that says it all. As you know, when we make investments in quality education, when they're made for girls, boys benefit as well. And today, while enrollment rates are higher, millions of children continue to lack access to a quality education. And this is particularly true in times of crisis, such as climate-related emergencies, disease outbreaks and pandemics, or armed conflicts, when girls are often the first to be pulled out of school. 60 Million Girls focuses on supporting quality education in rural, isolated communities in the global south, where girls are among the most vulnerable and marginalized. And these are also areas where it's very hard to find trained teachers and where infrastructure, books, and school supplies are not readily available. We started our real research for innovative solutions to close the gender gap in access to school and worldwide gap in quality education back in 2010, when we first established our research and development team. At the time, research and data we studied indicated that it would take another 300 years for all the girls to have primary school education if the world kept going at the same pace. And a number of events, field visits, and research at the time conspired to enable us to develop a model that we would eventually call our mobile learning lab. It all started with a visit to Sierra Leone in 2010, where our partner, Cause Canada, had set up a program to enable girls to learn Word and Excel on old computers powered by gas-fueled generators. And imagine, I thought later, after I had visited our project in Kabbalah, if these girls could harness digital technology to learn on any subject they wanted in their own language without the need for the internet or electricity. It had to be ready, easy to use, plug and play, not require IT specialists, and be cost-effective and sustainable, and be self-directed. We first started with Khan Academy on USB sticks, then graduated to Raspberry Pis, and finally, we now use a server called Rachel, developed by World Possible. Up to 1 terabyte of content can be downloaded on the Rachel, a unit that costs about $500 US. That's equivalent to hundreds of thousands of books, videos, and interactive acts. We pair the Rachel with tablets, sometimes adding headsets, and we provide solar charging systems where there is no electricity. Up to 30 students can connect to the server at the same time, of course, wirelessly. All the content, like K-Lite, the offline version of Khan Academy, is open source and free and offline. The mobile learning lab doesn't require internet connection, so in fact, children are safer than with the open access to the internet. Contextually relevant content in local languages in line with community needs following national curriculum. The content includes literacy, math, science, social science, music, coding, health, agriculture, and so much more. Sexual and reproductive health information is also there, as well as menstrual health information. And it's important for girls to have this to navigate adolescence and menstruation in private, is the word that keeps coming back to us. As for digital skills, like the internet, students are using the exact same skills to navigate, but in a safer and strictly academic environment. And yet the digital gap is only growing, and the gap will deepen even more now with the advent of artificial intelligence. It's the digital divide that persists. While the world celebrates breakthroughs in generative AI and adaptive learning, billions of learners remain disconnected. For example, in Brazil alone, 20,000 schools lack internet connectivity, and many more have bandwidth too weak for meaningful online learning. In remote and rural communities, from the Amazon to rural Africa through the Middle East and Asia, similar challenges persist. No electricity, no connectivity, few trained teachers. The result is a growing AI gap that mirrors and deepens existing educational inequalities. But what if learning doesn't need an internet connection? And what if AI could actually help? And that's where the concept of AI unplugged comes in. It's a new vision for inclusive AI. So the concept of AI unplugged aligns powerfully with 60 Million Girls' mission. Thanks to the help of the student team at McGill's Nord Consulting, we held a conference on October 7th at McGill, inviting many of our partners, as well as researchers, to discuss the future of AI and what it means for education in the Global South. Our keynote speakers were Dr. Ig Betancourt, researcher and UNESCO chairholder on AIED Unplugged, and founder of the Center of Excellence in Social Technologies, or NICE, which is the Portuguese acronym, and his fellow researcher, Dr. Diego de Merval. As Ig explained, we are basically replicating models that will make inequity even more resilient throughout the years. When technology-driven policies focus only on connectivity and devices, they fail the most marginalized learners. Infrastructure investment alone cannot solve the digital divide. Innovation must also adapt to the realities of low-resource contexts. NICE has proposed 5 guiding principles for making AI accessible in resource-constrained environment. First, conformity. Work with the infrastructure that already exists. Don't wait for ideal conditions. I've heard so many times, the internet is coming, the internet will be coming to different communities, and it takes years and years. Use the internet only when it's available. Design systems that can function fully offline and synchronize them later if internet connection does come in. Proxy users. When learners lack devices, empower teachers or local facilitators as intermediaries. Multi-user design. Move beyond one-to-one personalization to group-based learning models. Simplicity and skillfulness. Keep tools intuitive, since many teachers have very limited digital literacy. These principles redefined what AI innovation can look like in low resource contexts. For example, NICE created an offline handwriting analysis tool that helps teachers assess student essays. They did this in Brazil. So the texts were written by hand, so very low tech, pen and paper, by the students. So using only a smartphone camera, it diagnoses writing levels and provides targeted feedback with no internet required, both individually and for the whole group of students. So the teacher takes a picture of the written text and sends it out, and then it's evaluated and the writing levels are diagnosed. A process that used to take months to accomplish for national exams is now completed in 5 minutes. Similarly, lightweight AI models running on low-cost Android devices now assist teachers in doing things like generating math exercises or identifying students at risk of dropout. Another innovative use of AI comes from an NGO we've been following since the inception of the idea of the Mobile Learning Lab, Learning Equality. Calibri is a program created by Learning Equality that grew from the creation of KA Lite, the offline version of Khan Academy, some 12 years ago. We'll let Jamie Alexander, the co-executive director of Learning Equality, explain how AI is enabling them to support teachers through curriculum alignment of the Calibri platform.
Learning Equality builds Calibri, which is an ecosystem of open digital products and tools centered around an offline-first learning platform. And it's also backed by a library of over 200,000 open educational resources, focused on K through 12, and spanning across over 180 languages. And through this combination of bottom-up grassroots adoption, as Audrey emphasized, the power of open source and do-it-yourself adoption, as well as strategic partnerships and implementing at scale through institutions, we've reached over 10 million learners across more than 220 countries and territories since we started this work 12 years ago. And of course, working across such diverse contexts, one of the critical ingredients that we all know to be really important is curriculum alignment. Content is coming from many different sources, some of it locally created, some from outside of the country of use. And so for it to be effectively integrated into formal educational environments, it's critical that it be organized to the standards of each country where it's being used. So over the past 10 years, we've done a lot of manual curriculum alignment, working with curriculum experts, aligning to specific curricular standards of national countries to have supplemental open educational resources to support learning. But it's a very labor-intensive process and something that we started exploring several years ago, how we could streamline. So the challenge statement that came out of those series of design consultations was recognizing that in low resource contexts, there's often a scarcity of time, personnel, and tools for curriculum alignment to support effective EdTech implementation. And in particular, in refugee and crisis contexts, often the response needs to be rapid. You're dealing with host and home country standards, multiple languages, and so there needs to be the ability to do this process more efficiently. So the approach that we embarked upon was developing machine learning and AI algorithms and tooling to automate key parts of this curriculum alignment process. So part of this design co-ideation was understanding what are the different stages of the process of curriculum alignment and which of those are most amenable to automation. So we've already honed in on two specific components of this process. The first was digitizing the curricular standards themselves into a format that could be used in an education platform, and then aligning content, organizing content to match those specific standards. This is an example from the Kenyan curricular standards for grade 9 ICT curriculum, where parsing a document like this, when we were initially working on this in 2020, required a lot of manual work, manual cleanup. We were using traditional OCR methods, parsing out that text, but even just getting the text into a reasonable format to then use further, let alone parsing it out into a machine usable format to use in an education platform, was incredibly labor intensive, slow, and involving manual processes. So more recently, in the last couple of years, leveraging generative AI, we've been able to build data processing pipelines that take a document like that and automatically extract the taxonomy of topics and subtopics and learning objectives from that type of document into a structure that can directly be used within an education platform. And then once we have that curricular structure, the process of curriculum alignment, in this case, is around matching specific learning objectives within that structure to the open educational resources that we're drawing from our library. And so that's essentially a recommender model. It's saying for each of these learning objectives, which content is valuable as a supplemental resource to help students or teachers with achieving that learning objective.
So as we see, AI Unplugged is not just about enabling children to, oh, sorry, my video is off. There you go. So it's not just about enabling children to connect to things like ChatGPT or many of the other uses we find and that scared us the most. AI Unplugged is using the power of AI in support of teachers, administrators, students, by using AI in the background in such innovative ways, specifically within the constraints and cultural context of the communities being supported. AI at its best helps tasks that are repetitive and of little value added to be streamlined such that work that would take months to complete can now be done in days or even in minutes. AI Unplugged is something we're continuing to explore. Recently, we presented a workshop on October 28th in Clermont-Ferrand, France, at the Global Development Network Conference on Inclusive Digital Transformation. Our wonderful team included my 60 Million Girl colleague and dear friend Ariane Aymon, Lorraine Swift, Director of Change for Children, and Diego Demerval of Nice, Brazil. Our workshop presentation enabled us to show how and why we developed the Mobile Learning Lab to a new audience of mostly NGO practitioners and educators. Our session was sold out. We discussed how the Rachel and the use of solar energy can provide low-cost, contextually adapted, quality educational content in the most remote, fragile areas of the world. Attendees were so varied. They came from countries like El Salvador, Vietnam, Myanmar, Brazil, Nigeria, Ghana, India, Afghanistan, Nepal, Togo, and so many other countries. And they really shared their challenges in supporting their local school, and can tell you those challenges are many and they're very, very deep. We're always in search of new quality, free offline content to add to the Rachel. About 3 years ago, we started researching for contextually relevant climate action information for youth in the global south and found very little, certainly nothing in digital format that could be used offline. And yet climate change is having a devastating impact in the global south, particularly with respect to food insecurity and the loss of income for families. As with all crises, girls are usually the first to be pulled out of school. We know children need access to quality information to help them navigate and help communities mitigate and adapt to the new realities. We spent a lot of time and energy looking for this content, and we were becoming quite frustrated. What's the saying? Necessity is the mother of invention. With a wonderful group of students from McGill, once again, we held a type of hackathon called Create for Good in March 2024, from which a number of ideas emerged for a video game design. Shortly after the event, 3 professional game designers joined our team pro bono to bring this idea to reality. The team eventually extended to 5 designers as well as graphic artists. Our first field beta testing was due to begin last week in Uganda, but unfortunately, due to violence and unrest in the area which we had targeted to test the game, we had to cancel all our activities and postpone our field visits to probably March or April of next year. So our climate action video game, which will have links to the content on the Rachel, we believe is the first offline video game on climate action for youth in the global south, and will enable us to reach 700,000 Rachel users in 20 countries. We're proud to show you today a sneak peek of what Kanupi likes now.
Across the world, in many developing countries, children face daily challenges related to climate change. Droughts, floods, and the loss of natural resources make their everyday lives increasingly difficult. These children are deprived of effective ways to learn the skills needed for their future and that of their communities. For them, climate change is not an abstract theory, but a reality that affects their access to water, food security, well-being, and even their ability to go to school. In this challenging environment, our project aims to provide them with the tools and skills needed to understand these issues and tackle them. Play is a fundamental aspect of human development. It is well known that people learn more easily through play and have used games throughout history to develop their intelligence and skills. To help children tackle the challenges of climate change, we are designing a unique educational video game that will not only make them better understand what is happening around them, but also to develop practical skills to address these issues. To achieve this, our game invites children to choose an avatar and set off on an adventure, exploring various parts of the world through chapters to assist communities affected by climate change. Simulation-based learning allows children to face realistic situations in a controlled environment where they can test, experiment, and learn without fearing mistakes. By replicating real-life actions such as water or soil management, children acquire skills that they can later apply in their communities. In the immersive scenarios of their adventure, children will experience various concepts and knowledge through simple and interactive actions that they can apply in real life, such as collecting and storing water, enriching the soil, or preventing erosion. In communities where lands are present, Students will have the opportunity to deepen their knowledge in science, agriculture, architecture, and much more, enabling them to implement climate actions tailored to their own context. From the start of this project, our team has worked to turn these ideas into a game that can educate and inspire. We carefully design each game mechanic considering the children's context and their daily needs. We also ensure to include adaptations so that every child, including those with disabilities or specific needs, like color blindness, can fully enjoy the gaming experience. We are also committed to promoting gender equality, ensuring that all children, regardless of gender, have access to these learning and development opportunities. Now imagine children discovering best practices in sustainable farming methods or learning how to manage water through engaging in interactive video games. Isn't that a wonderful vision of the future and the use of technology? With your support, we can transform children's education worldwide, provide them with lasting resilience against the climate challenges they face, challenges that affect us all, and prepare a generation to build a better future.
So you got a sneak peek at part of what Canupi looks like. We're working at the same time to include as much locally relevant climate action content on the Rachel so that the students can further explore possibilities adapted to their specific needs. And the game will eventually have several adventure themes and will reach out to children from around the world. So though 60 Million Girls is a small organization, and of course we're completely volunteer run, we believe our impact is greater than our size. Our funding enables us to support new and bold initiatives, test and evaluate them to prove impact. And with proof of concept, our partners are often able to secure larger grants from major funders. In fact, our overall $5 million in funding in the past 19 years has led to close to $25 million in funds received by our partners. So we're a Montreal, Canada-based public foundation and have supported over 40 projects in more than 20 countries, reaching hundreds of thousands of children since 2006. Our administrative expenses are less than 1% of all the donations we receive. And this year, with your generous support, we'll be funding 2 projects for a total of $400,000, which is a first for 60 Million Girls. And we'd like to show you short videos on the 2 projects that we're supporting this year. The first one is being implemented by Right to Play in Rwanda.
Rubavu is one of the districts in Rwanda that is mostly affected by climate change. To preserve the climate, people needed to be taught about climate change, including its causes, preventive measures, at a very early age. It is inspiring to see young children, especially girls, aged 9 to 11 years old, about climate change education through the Girls for Climate Change projects, implemented by Right to Play through the generous support of 60 Million Girls Foundation. The program goes beyond classroom setting, encouraging children to participate in clubs where they develop projects that address climate change in their communities.
The Girls for Climate Change project is enhancing the use of technology in our schools. Many classrooms do not have internet, but learning continues. With virtual class, students will be able to access the content offline. Using virtual class to access content offline will help teachers integrate climate content into activities, while children explore local environmental challenges and design creative solutions.
I always wanted to be a scientist who would solve the problems, but I didn't know how to start. With the extra laptop and laptops, I will be able to learn new things and search for information even without the internet. I will find my answer to questions, and I learn how to solve the problems in my community.
Girls for Climate Change projects is opening new doors for Rwandan children through play, creativity, and technology. It will inspire girls to learn read, and use the power of technology to build a greener future for all. It will inspire girls to learn, read, and...
Thank you very much, Roberta. So that was the video from Right to Play for the project in Rwanda. The next video that we'll show is the video from CamFed for the project in Ghana that we're supporting this year.
The Mobile Learning Lab project, I've been in the cohort 1, I would say the piloting cohort, and it's also amazing.
Since 2021, we've partnered with 60 Million Girls Foundation and Ghana Education Service through several mobile learning lab projects, reaching marginalized girls in rural Ghana who face intersecting barriers, including gender inequality and digital exclusion. We focus on schools that have little or no internet access. Our partnership is giving these students hands-on experience with digital technology and is also providing them with quality learning resources, especially for STEM and climate education topics. In this way, we are opening up new opportunities for students to learn and thrive.
In Ghana, I would say most rural areas have a lack of such devices, kind of either tablets, laptop, or mobile phones. So in most of the schools, even teaching ICT becomes very difficult because teachers, the school do not have such devices to show the students what they're really teaching, because most schools in Ghana are really struggling with tech equipment to teach the students. So when this opportunity came, it was like a golden opportunity for them to appreciate it, accept it, embrace it, but the students will also go through it. And the students themselves were also happy because they'll be able to see whatever they've been taught in class.
This being my first time, I was very glad to use a tablet for research. And if this is how it's going to be, then I can say that everyone in this school excel in their academics, because not everyone can learn through just listening to a teacher teaching you and all that. Some can learn through visual, watching videos and all that helps us to improve in our understanding. And then it improves research work.
Mobile Learning Lab is associated with increased student attendance and performance. It offers students a different way to learn with the support of technology and reinforces what they learned in class.
Most of the students come to school just because they are coming to have a hands-on on the tablet, to learn on the virtual device, and it has increased role in our school. It has motivated students to learn, but it is also teaching them something else. So I think the content on the virtual device is really important and great, and it's rich for their studies as well. The most important thing is it's offline. They can access content on the virtual device, content that they already learn in class, subject they already know, and it adapts to the knowledge they already have. And this looks like a real experience because they've already learned that and they are now seeing it real on the video form.
I think it brings opportunity for us students. It will help us to learn more things through digitalization.
And I can say that this has helped the students to kind of explore, move away from not knowing to be known. So now tablets are not new to them, and some of these devices are not new to them because they've had hands-on on it previously, and it is still ongoing, and the impact is really great.
Thanks very much. We really appreciate both Right to Play and CamFed's work in putting these videos together for us. So thank you very much. Of course, it's only because of your support and our amazing group of volunteers, long-term relationships with these wonderful partners that we can commit to investing as much as $400,000 this year. Of course, your dollar donations are really the motors of these projects. This year, once again, two very generous donors have agreed to match your donations up to $25,000 in the next 10 days. So your donations of $100, $500, or $1,000 will be doubled to $200, $1,000, and $2,000 But whatever you can contribute will make a huge difference in the lives of so many girls and boys who need our support the most to ensure that they have an access to a quality education, which is their right. You also help us tremendously when donating Aeroplan points or following and reporting our messages on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. For those of you in the fields of international development or education in the global south, and those connected to climate action around the world, your support is equally important to us. We're always looking for innovative ideas, contextually relevant climate change content for our mobile learning labs, and we love hearing from you. In the chat box, you'll see the direct link to our secure donation page, or you can go on our website to the Give Now page. Roberta, I'll just ask you, were there any questions that came up that people are looking for answers to?
Not so far, Wanda.
Okay. Well, that's great. We're at 6:03, so we always like to promise that we can do this in 30 minutes. If there are any questions, things that come up or comments that you have, we're always happy to hear from you. Again, you can just go to our website, click the link to the email, and the emails come directly to me. So again, thank you everyone for taking the time to be here tonight. And we really, really appreciate it. And we hope that the rest of the evening or afternoon is really great for you. Thanks very much.